morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. It's Wednesday, October 15th, and today we've got to talk more about these lawyers because we have to talk about these lawyers. There were a few questions I got yesterday, and I still owe you the documents we talked about yesterday. I will put those in the Lawnerd app. Yesterday got very busy in like life things. So unfortunately, we do not have those yet just because yesterday got very busy in the life things category. But do not worry, we've got it today. So with all of that, good morning, everybody. Replay crew, always good to see you. You guys are the best. Everything's timestamped down below. If you missed anything from yesterday, it's kind of a part one of what we're talking about with these lawyers. If you missed anything from yesterday, that's all in the case brief. We'll link it. It's on the Emily Show channel. Thank you guys for asking about T. He'll be okay. He needs some time, but he'll be okay. So we've got kiddo stuff going on, which is just life. It's just parent life, caregiver life. We just have things. There are things going on, but it will be good. So with yesterday being as busy as it was, I did not get a chance to link those, but I will link everything today. I'll put it in the Lawnerd app once we get a chance to do it. So we know how life can get. But today, you guys asked a couple questions. One, was there a response? Yep. Cardi B's lawyers responded. Oh, yes, they did. So we heard from Cardi B's lawyers. So we're going to talk about that today. And then there were some questions about what's going on in the hallway case, the Geragos case, because a lot of you were like, okay, so there was this fight in the hallway, and then there's what? Now what? Well, we're going to do an update on that today too, because there are updates to be had. But yeah, I get it. When you guys are like, fight in the hallway. Oh, that helped with the white balance. Look, when we tried to redo the spooky season, I changed just that one thing too much, and then it just threw everything off. It's going to be fine. We'll fix it in post. But the fight in the hallway case, I have updates on. So we're going to do that too, because we can. So for those of you that are just like, are we going to get back to live court? Yeah, we'll get back to live court another week. We're not doing it this week. This week, we're going to talk about these lawyers. We need to talk about these lawyers. We must, because I haven't seen anything quite like this. It's not that we haven't seen lawyers that haven't been our favorite. We've seen that. We've definitely seen that. It's the manipulation and the gaslighting and the childish, unprofessional tactics of, I know you are, but what am I? I know you are, but what am I? We haven't seen anything quite like that. And though we have seen lawyers who have been flustered, I think when we look at like Elaine Bredehoft, we see a lawyer that was flustered. I speculate flustered with client. I think Elaine probably does a ton of depositions and not as many trials. But I think we saw a lawyer that was just flustered a lot of the time. This is different. The level of manipulation is so high. And there were definitely times in Depp Heard where we saw things represented to the court and we were just like, that's not true. But this is on another level. And to respond to a OSC with, trust me, bro, is a wild take. The OSC response that we went over yesterday, look, defense counsel, Cardi B's counsel is asking for sanctions, up to $25,000 in sanctions, plus attorney's fees, plus contempt. And the response was, Your Honor, I only saw this today. the day after it was filed. How dare they? It was a religious holiday. I had no notice, even though I was in court a month ago when they gave notice to me directly. Cardi B threw a pen, Your Honor. How can the legal system stand that Cardi B threw a pen? The pearls have been clutched. Miss me. Just really, that's the response. Oh, I forgot. I didn't intentionally violate the court's numerous orders. No. That's what the response was. It was ridiculous. So we have 19 pages of Cardi B's lawyers responding. Hunk Banana Nose said his response is essentially the vapors. I mean, yes. But Your Honor, it's not intentionally. Oh my. Oh, and the I'm not a seasoned attorney. That's a wild one too. Cassidy said, I'm not a seasoned attorney. I've never seen a lawyer with 20 years plus of practice say, but I'm not a seasoned trial attorney, Your Honor. I don't know how these rules of evidence works. Well, obviously, because we covered the case where you got fined over $22,000 of discovery violations, but I don't think that that's because he doesn't know. Does this lawyer strike you as a lawyer that doesn't know? Because this lawyer, it's not a Scotty doesn't know. This lawyer strikes me as, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do to me? Bet. It's giving bet. You're not going to do anything. And the second part of that is they're never going to know. They're never going to know. And if they know, I'm going to say, but Your Honor, it's against my religion. I would never. Sir, you're not special. I'm 47 years young. Think of my reputation. Maybe don't take a case that's going to be on TV then. All right, we should roll the intro. Me and my soundboard are going to fight for a minute. There you go. Back. George was Georging at it yesterday. Let's roll the intro. Let's talk about court. Let's look at 19 pages of, Your Honor, how do I respond if they don't do their assignment? He's talking about some pen throwing. How can I do my work if he didn't do his? However, that's insulting to Cher from Clueless to compare this attorney to her. Because Cher from Clueless, I'm pretty sure just grew up to be Elle Woods and would be a better attorney in a Calvin Klein dress. All right, let's roll the intro. Let's get to court. For live court coverage, I break down the law, the strategy, and the evidence in real time so you know what's happening. No law degree required. So join the law nerds in the chat. They're here for the facts, not and let's get to court. I mean, I know that our intro says that we're here for the facts, not fuckery. Can we be honest just together for a second? Today we're here for the fuckery, right? Just today we're here for the fuckery. There's also things pled in legal pleadings that are facts, but we needed a minute to also be here for the fuckery. No, I know. Amber's the one who said, I can't do my assignment if she didn't do hers. Cher's the one who didn't do the assignment. But I can't say that Ron is Cher in this situation. Ron didn't do the assignment, but I can't liken Ron to Cher. Because Ron would not pull but it was his 50th birthday. Like, he would never make that argument. I could guess at arguments that he might make, but they would get clipped out of context. And then I would probably also violate TOS because I could guess at the arguments he might make. Just fill it in with your brain. It's going to be fine. Let's look at 19 pages of response. For any of you that missed yesterday's and didn't catch up on the case brief yesterday, let's give a quick road so far beyond the road so far we just gave. We are looking at the motion for sanctions. Well, the application for an order to show cause in the Cardi B case. At the very end of trial, Cardi B's defense attorney said, we need to talk about sanctions. And the court said, yes, we can do that after trial. And they said we gave the attorney notice the day that the verdict came out, which was September 2nd. We watched it on delay because Donna. So that was a month before it was filed because they filed it October 2nd, a month later. The plaintiff's attorney, Amani Ellis's attorney, responded with, I just got this motion. I was out of the office yesterday and I didn't even know. And how dare they? And I thought we were all just going to walk away because after court, Cardi B said we were all just going to go our separate ways. He had already been given notice that this was happening before Cardi B said anything outside of court. Cardi B's warning outside of court. Actually, Miguelina, will you grab it and put it in the prep doc? We'll go look at it after this. But essentially after court, Cardi B said, hey, I didn't sue Amani Ellis. I didn't go after her for attorney's fees. This is the last time. Y'all are on notice. If you come at me with bullshit, I'm going to come right back at you. This is the last time. I'm leaving her alone. She asked her fans and her audience to leave her alone. She said between her and Amani Ellis, let's just walk away. Her lawyer had already given the other lawyer notice regarding the trial misconduct that he's alleging. But Ron's like, it's me. No, sir, you're the problem. It's you. Chris VDS, Mallory. No, I'm going to say that wrong. Mallory, I hope I said it right. Good to see you. Love a ginger tea. It's the best. Nice to see you. My brain pronounces things improperly, but I will figure it out before tomorrow, and then we will say hi again. B in the chat said, yeah, Cardi B warned folks she's countersuing in the future. 100%. She didn't say that she was going after Amani Ellis, but her lawyers already said, we're not done with this trial. And the attorney's fees that they are looking for is the attorney's fees to deal with the sanctions motion, not the entire case. So let's take a look, shall we? All right, let's get this docketed up. This is from October 7th from Mr. Anderson, Peter Anderson, Mr. Anderson. Mr. Anderson, attorneys for Cardi B, professionally known and also sued as Cardi B. The shade every single time. They put in her entire name and then they're like, but instead of her legal name, they sued her as Cardi B. And when Cardi B got on the stand, she's like, it's fine. Call me Cardi B. It's fine. It's fine. We're Cardi. This is going to hearing on Friday. Scarlett Gibbs said, will the lawyer charge Amani for this? If he is on retainer, yes. If he was on contingency, maybe not. Contingency means that if she gets paid, he gets paid, but if she doesn't get paid, he doesn't get paid. If he was on contingency, maybe not. But he's also hired a lawyer, or so he said yesterday. Yesterday, he said, I can't say anymore. I've hired a lawyer. His lawyer hasn't filed a notice of appearance, mind you. The lawyer has not filed a notice of appearance. The lawyer hasn't filed anything. I'll check the docket before we leave today. But We haven't seen anything from the lawyer. Red Hot Amy Kate said, did he hire Geragos? No, he can't. There's a conflict. So no, he can't hire anyone from the Geragos firm. He cannot. Memorandum of Points and Authorities. Cardi B timely filed her application for an order to show cause why plaintiff's counsel, Ron, should not be held in contempt and sanctioned for violating the court orders and for his trial misconduct. Ron's knee-jerk reaction to that filing was to try to punish defense counsel by late filing his own application despite lacking a legal or factual basis for the issuance of an OSC. But counsel, he said he was disappointed. Is that not a factual basis? It's his facts. He thinks there's a factual basis because he's mad. Big mad. So it's his facts. So when we are talking about the OSC, this is the application for the OSC. The court will decide if Ron should be ordered to formally answer. And then it will go forward from there. So on Friday, the court's not going to be like, sanctions, drop your checkbook. I mean, does the court PayPal now? Like, what do we do? Nobody has a checkbook. What is the court? How is the court accepting fees? They probably told the lawyers to still have a checkbook, but like the court's not going to grant sanctions Friday. This is the beginning of the process. But yeah, this is untimely. It wasn't filed within 30 days. It was very much you said I did it. You did it. You. His knee-jerk reaction, well, he was disappointed, counsel. They go on to say, Mr. Rosen's application was untimely, and for that reason alone, it should be denied. It probably will be. Denied as untimely. Even if, this is the arguendo, even if the court reviews his application on the merits, it must be denied. He states that his application is brought because defense counsel violated the court's orders. Yet, Ron fails to identify any orders supposedly violated by defense counsel. Yeah, the entire motion, the entire application was, trust me, bro. Trust me, bro. But he should be sanctioned. Why? His client threw a pen. Okay, but why should he be sanctioned? She hit somebody with a microphone, apparently, in 2023. Okay, but why should Mr. Anderson be sanctioned? Because I'm disappointed. That's not how that works. Mr. Rosen fails to identify any orders supposedly violated by defense counsel. He also states that defense counsel, this is Cardi B's counsel, violated Rules of Professional Conduct 3.10 by threatening to report him to the state bar. That's not a threat. It's a promise. I'm teasing. We're going to just go housewives style. Oh, I'm not threatening. I'm just telling you what I'm going to do. Not a threat. But Ron does not state when or where those alleged threats were made or their alleged content. Apologies. The reason is simple. The claimed threats are fiction. Shock. Did you notice that Cardi B's attorneys brought a 69-page, not 6-7. 6 was funny before 6-7. A 69-page declaration full of what? Receipts. Full of receipts. And Ron said, but Felicia said 369. Damn, she's fine. Exactly. Get low. Get low. Okay, Emily, back to, well, I don't even know if this is reality. Like, this does not feel real to me, that this is what they are arguing about. His entire motion was, And so they're trying to respond to the and they say, well, we never said that. They go on to say, nor does his application establish a violation of Rule 3.10, which, for example, requires that the threat include that it will be withdrawn if a requested advantage is provided. Oh, so more like extortion. Like, if you do this, then I won't do this. But if you don't do the thing I want you to do, then I'll do this thing. We might have to follow up on the other lawyer fights. We have some other lawyer fights we have not followed up on. I know not everybody loves the lawyer fights, but for those of us that do, because the Jay-Z Spyro lawyer fight is still going on. We haven't peeked back in on that yet. And then there's a whole Brian Friedman lawyer fight that is popping off. We might need another episode of lawyer fights, because there's at least 2 more cases where the lawyers are fighting, and they're fighting like to the side of the other litigation that's going on. Because we have the Spyro fight is spiraled out of control in the Jay-Z case all over the place. And then the Brian Friedman fight is just starting to pop off. So we might need lots of it. What happened with the lawyer from Baldwin? He represented Jay-Z. And then he and the plaintiff's counsel went wild with each other. And there are lawsuits filed in like 3 different jurisdictions. There's shit that was happening in New York, stuff that was in California, where the other lawyer was accused of extortion. And then there was stuff going on in Texas. There were 3 going on. We might have to get back to this because it's wild. So, and these are just the paper fights. These are not like lawyers actually trying to physically fight with one another like the Geragos case. They're fighting with words at this point. They're fighting with filings. The fight filings. Is it Runkle or Rob that calls Nightbot Fightbot? These are the fight filings. 100% the fight filings. So we haven't gone over the Texas one in a minute. So the fight filings. It's Runkle that calls it the Fightbot. The lawyer fights. Fight filings. That's exactly what these are. These are fight filings. So let's see. Knee-jerk reaction, trial misconduct, fight. The claimed threats are fiction. Your Honor. Remarkably, is it though? Is it remarkable? Are we shocked? Like, are we shocked at this point? Remarkably, Ron falsely alleges that defense counsel assaulted and battered him. He did do that. He makes that desperate accusation. He's just calling him desperate. He makes that desperate accusation even though the only time they were in the same place was in Department T and its adjoining hallway. I totally forgot that the department this was happening in is Department T. There is something delicious about that coincidence. It is Department T. All of the tea. The only time they were in the same place was in Department T and its adjoining hallway, where multiple witnesses and sheriff's deputies were present at all times and reported no such conduct. In short, Ron and his application resort to fabrication and falsehoods. Excuse me, Your Honor, fucking lies. But he does demonstrate why defense counsel has limited all communications with him to writing and took pains never to be alone with him. Your Honor, this dude's wild. We can't trust him. We will not talk to him alone. We will not talk to him on the phone because he's a fucking lying liar that lies. He's a fibbing fabricator with falsehoods. Footnote 1. In addition to Ron's misconduct, by the way, every time that I say that, the legal filing does not. For those of you listening in the background, if you ever have a moment where you are deep into your craft project or playing June's Journey or Midas Merge or whatever, and you're like, wait, are they starting to call him Ron in the filings? No, they're not. But I understand with the fact that we have filings calling John O'Keefe JJ and everyone calling Professor Dan Markell Danny, I understand where the confusion is. Ron's just me being petty. I just can't. In addition, footnote voice. In addition to Mr. Ron's misconduct that triggered defense counsel's insistence on written communications, his reputation precedes him. For example, in at least one case, he was sanctioned for $22,933 for multiple instances of misconduct and also triggered a mistrial by allegedly striking defense counsel. We're going to look more at that case in a minute. And they cited the ABA Journal article that we've read and the Law 360 article, Geragos judge told of schoolyard-style attorney altercation. So the judge can just go to the ABA Journal article and read about Ron not striking defense counsel, but grabbing defense counsel with such force that his glasses went flying off and then he stomped on them. The stomping on the glasses for me, like grabbing someone so that their glasses fly off and then stomping and kicking the glasses, to me, goes well beyond striking someone. It's next level. I think the judge needs to know all of this. Does it matter for this case? Kindly put, Ron has a tenuous grasp on the truth and professional ethics. I didn't read that well enough. Kindly put, Ron has a tenuous grasp on the truth and professional ethics. His application is a ruse and should be denied. Your Honor, this is bullshit. But we have 17 more pages to tell you about it. We knew it was going to come up, right? We knew at one point it was going to... No, I didn't mean to click the link. We knew it was going to come up. We read that article yesterday. We knew it was going to come up that this attorney got into some sort of kerfuffle that caused a mistrial. Because the judge needed to know. And the judge isn't Googling this lawyer. Oh boy. More transcripts. The court should deny Ron's late filed and unsupported application for an order to show cause. The application is untimely. Mr. Ron failed to file his application by the court's October 2nd, 2025 deadline. On the record, on September 2nd, the court set a 30-day deadline, October 2nd, 2025, to file applications for orders to show cause. And Mr. Ron agreed to that deadline. Mr. Anderson, now we're going to the transcript that's quoted. Mr. Anderson, yes, Your Honor, although you cautioned counsel that he can't argue things that are not in evidence, he repeatedly did. He even started talking about Dr. Avila's treatment, even though he was excluded over and over and over again. And all the jury sees is me objecting and Your Honor sustaining it. I would request that you admonish the jury to disregard all of the statements that you sustained objections to. I would also ask that you assign misconduct to counsel and that he be reprimanded because this has just been ongoing. The court said, okay, we can discuss. Ron, I want to respond. Sit down, Ron. Do you remember watching this? The benefit of watching this trial so close in time to this is that we just watched this. The court, well, let me do this. I will give further instruction to the jury about that the argument of counsel is not evidence and that they should disregard any comments that were not supported by the evidence. I will give that instruction. We can discuss whether or not we want to set an OSC after the trial for any alleged conduct. Then they edit it, essentially ellipses. The court, this is later. If you want to request an OSC regarding attorney misconduct, you can request one, and the court will determine whether or not it wants to set one on its own. The judge is saying, hey, you can file, but I might set one on my own. I might sua sponte set an order regarding misconduct. So the court is also letting all of the attorneys know, even if you don't file for an OSC, I might set an OSC. And I have had judges do this in trials. I had a trial where I was a newer attorney, not unseasoned, newer. And I was hesitant to ask for sanctions. I asked that the jury be admonished regarding the misconduct. I asked that the court admonish counsel on the misconduct. And after the verdict came back, the court, without saying anything to me or asking me, set his own OSC hearing regarding the misconduct. The court's like, this is my court. These are my orders. I don't care if the people want to do this or not. I'm doing it. And I was like, I said nothing. I'm not asking. Oh, this was within my first 2 years of practice. This was early on. And I was like, I was always hesitant to ask for sanctions because, look, criminal is small. If the jury is admonished, if it doesn't happen again, but the judge was like, fuck this shit. And I'm like, go off, Your Honor. I'm not going to stop you. You do you. You do you, boo-boo. So this is later on in the transcript. The court said, if you want to request an OSC, order to show cause, regarding attorney misconduct, you can request one. And the court will determine whether or not it wants to set one on its own. The court, I might sanction your ass. No, that's not what the court said. The court said, I might set a hearing for you to explain yourself. And that's really what an OSC is. An OSC is a hearing to explain yourself to me. So sometimes there's OSCs regarding contempt, regarding attorney misconduct. So it's normally an OSC whatever the thing is. And then you get to come in and explain it to me. And then you can have the sanction or whatever it is set. So then Mr. Anderson says, okay, is there a deadline for that, Your Honor? Very lawyerly. Okay, Judge, we can request an OSC. Is there a deadline? The court, how about within the next 30 days? Mr. Anderson, that's fine. Mr. Rosen, Ron, plaintiff will do the same. And plaintiff preserves the right to appeal. Thank you, Your Honor. Amy Dean in the chat said, an OSC OMG. OSC re OMG. Can you believe this shit? For sure. $30 days. Within the next 30 days. They go on to say, despite the clear record, Ron filed his application late on October 3rd, 2025, after the court's deadline. For that reason alone, his untimely application should be denied. Untimely! Ron's excuse for his late filing, his excuses for his late filing ring hollow. Ron does not deny that he had notice of the October 2nd, 2025 deadline to file his threatened application for an OSC. Indeed, he was present and agreed to the deadline. Nor does he deny that a month was ample time for him to prepare and timely file the application he threatened on September 2nd to file. He said, we'll do the same. I'll file it too. He does not claim a calendaring error. Instead, he argues he was misled into thinking that Cardi B was not going to file her application for an OSC directed to him. But this is nonsense. And that's exactly what it says. Let Us Eat Tacos says, by the way, Emily, my kiddo hears you saying Mr. Anderson. It reminded me we need to watch The Matrix again. The more I watch The Matrix, the more it seems prophetic. It scares me. And I love it. But yes, I can't say Mr. Anderson any other way. It's Mr. Anderson. It just is. It just is. It's the only way to say it. So, Ron doesn't claim that he didn't know. There's no Scotty didn't know. And I love that at this point they just call it nonsense. As an initial point, Ron's admission that he filed his application only because Cardi B filed hers confirms his application is just a ploy. If there were meat to his application, whether to file it would not depend on whether Cardi B filed her application. Yeah, he did it purely responsive. Entirely because, you're accusing me of that? Well, you did it. Right. Further, Ron points to no statements by Cardi B or her counsel that she decided not to apply for an order to show cause directed to him. Instead, he first argues that Cardi B's statements to the press after the jury returned its verdict, quote, made it appear that the parties would be walking their separate ways. And then they cite back to what we read yesterday. He was not there, and as a result, his assertion is hearsay. Further, he omits her actual statement because Cardi B referred only to not pursuing claims against Miss Ellis and nowhere mentioned Ron. Correct. He next argues that because his September 3rd letter to defense counsel went unanswered, he assumed, quote, that everything was fine and that the parties would be moving on. That's from his filing from yesterday. But he fails to disclose to the court that his September 3rd letter relayed a settlement proposal What? He fails to disclose to the court that his September 3rd letter relayed a settlement proposal, and he ended that letter by directing defense counsel to, quote, respond within 24 hours if your client wants to settle this case. Girl, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. No, no, no. It goes on to say it is patently absurd for Ron to claim that not responding to his letter asking for a response, quote, if your client wants to settle, meant to him that everything was fine and that the parties would be moving on. The audacity. Cardi B wins. There's no liability to her. The jury came back in 17 seconds. That's hyperbole, but the jury came back, with a swiftness that indicates that they didn't take long or need long to discuss the issues, and that figuring out the verdict forms and the jury instructions probably took most of it. And the next day, the day after she wins, the next day, he reaches out and emails her attorney, would you like to settle this case with us now? Because what? You're going to appeal? And you think the appellate court might what? Grant you a new trial? Would you like to settle? Fuck no. What attorney would settle this case after they won on the off chance that the appellate court might do something wonky? Because if the appellate court does something wonky, they might choose to appeal it and appeal that order higher. Also, this isn't a case with like wonky appellate issues. Excuse me. This is so preposterous, it's going to give me the hiccups. Okay, continuing on. Moreover, in reliance on his September 3rd settlement letter, directly disproves his assertion that he understood from statements Cardi B made to the press on September 2nd that she would not be filing an application for an OSC. Oh, counsel, Mr. Anderson, stop applying logic. Mr. Anderson said, well, you said you thought everybody was moving on. Why would you ask us to settle? Weird. Like, if you thought we were going our separate ways, why are you asking for settlement? Do you believe we're going separate ways? Strange. Sorry, we needed hand lotion. The hands got too dry. I was going to start flinging my rings all over the room if I kept waving my hands in disbelief. I can't believe he said, you know what? I have to stop saying I can't believe it, because there are no boundaries here. I am trying to apply logic to an illogical situation, and so that's on me. That's on me. Why wouldn't this attorney just be like, do you see what the jury did? You should probably settle with us now. Because why would I assume that his version of reality and what we all watched are the same? My bad. My bad. My bad. Continuing on. The letter's fucking wild. Adira asked if he's asking to settle the main case or this part, the OSC. It's unclear because they didn't include all of it. So it is unclear to me what he was asking to settle. I don't think it's unclear because Mr. Anderson's making it unclear. I think the lack of clarity is probably in the original. I don't know if it's attached because they don't cite it as an exhibit. Settlement offers should be confidential and discussions of settlement should be confidential. So I'm not surprised it's not attached. I'm just disappointed. I would love for it to be attached. I would love that. I would love that. His reliance on the September 3rd letter directly disproves his assertion that he understood that the parties would be moving on. He next argues that defense counsel did not meet and confer before filing the application. But there is no meet and confer requirement for applications for orders to show cause. Of course not, because it would just lead to fighting. It literally, what are you going to do? In Emily's world, this is what I would love. This is not realistic and is hyperbole. But wouldn't it be great if the meet and confer requirement for an OSC is that you just have to call opposing counsel and say, look, here comes a consequence. Look, here comes a consequence. Chasing after you. Click. That would be the best. That's your meet and confer. You're on notice. The consequences are coming. That would be the best meet and confer requirement. It would be so unserious. I'm here for it. There is no meet and confer requirement for applications for OSC. And he nowhere disputes that on September 2nd, he was provided notice in open court that Cardi B would be filing application for an order to show cause directed to him. It seems right. When we watched it, I took away from the end of trial that counsel would be 100% filing an OSC. I was rooting Jerry Springer style for sanctions. It might have been Arsenio Hall style. I can't quite remember. But we were rooting for sanctions. We all knew that they were going to bring sanctions. There's a saying about consequences. A minute. This is not an After Dark episode. Put it away, Emily. Put it away. Back in the brain. Continuing to defense counsel's accusation of ambushing. Ron accuses defense counsel Cardi B's lawyers of, quote, ambushing him by filing the application on a Jewish holiday. But they filed on the court set deadline 30 days from September 2nd. When the court set that deadline, Ron did not raise a conflict with any holiday. Also, he had 30 days before the holiday to prepare and timely file his own application. If Ron looked at the calendar and said, oh, no, there are holidays there, I'm not going to be working, he could have said it to the courts. The courts in LA accommodate for holidays all the time. It's not new, it's not unusual, it's not unexpected, it's not something that a judge has never heard before. Oh, Your Honor, that would fall on October 2nd. Sometimes people will just be like, oh, Your Honor, that deadline falls on a Friday. Can we change it to the Monday? Oh, Your Honor, that falls on a Saturday. Can we change it to this? It all the time. Courts, yeah, fine. The deadline's this then. It was not a big deal to the court, clearly. The court was like, how about 30 days? And everybody went, cool. They go on to say that his excuses for late filing his application are contrived and his application can and should be denied as untimely. Ron's application relies on inadmissible hearsay and undocumented and obviously false statements. Tell me more. Nor does Ron carry his burden of establishing grounds to grant his application to issue an OSC. He cites statutes regarding contempt and states that his application and declaration that defense counsel should be held in contempt for his, quote, violations of court orders. Is there more? No. But nowhere, counsel says, Does Ron identify any order supposedly violated by defense counsel? They underlined that bit. Instead, Ron requests that the court issue an OSC based on generalized, unproven, and indeed false accusations that do not justify tarring defense counsel with an OSC. Okay, we're getting counsel. Really? We've too much. Back up just a little bit. We've got back up just a little bit. I understand that you're mad. Just a little bit back. A little bit back. He goes on to say, thus, Ron states that at some unspecified times in unidentified context and by unknown words, defense counsel violated RPC 3.10 by supposedly threatening to report him to the state bar. You know what would have been better? Like, let Cardi B come up with a few lines for this motion. Redirect the energy from like Nicki Minaj on Twitter and put it here. You can like lawyer speak it, but just give her a little bit of room to work. Wouldn't that be fun? Your Honor, redirect the energy. Counsel, your client knows how to throw some insults. If you wanted to. Just a suggestion. The client might want some input. We would be amused. The client might want some input. I'm just saying. What would that look like? So, unspecified, unidentified, and unknown. We love the threes, right? We love the alliteration. At first it was falsehoods and frivolity, and now we've gotten to unspecified, unidentified, and unknown. They go on to say the accusation is not only false, but generalized and conclusory, and for that reason alone insufficient to establish a claimed violation. Agreed. Further, Rule 3.10 prohibits threatening to report a lawyer to the bar as part of an attempt to obtain an advantage in a civil case. Thus, the rule prohibits a lawyer from starting or implying that a criminal or administrative action will be pursued unless the opposing party agrees to settle a civil dispute. Also, nope, I lost my place. Where did it go? Yes. Ron does not and cannot, consistent with the truth. Your Honor, if he's telling the truth, he cannot give you any information. Any information would be, anathema to the truth. This entire thing should be, what was Judge Selya's word? Defenestrated? Out the window. Your Honor, counsel must have been utterly crapulous when writing that motion. I'm here for all of it. He is repasturating the same ground that we went over at trial. But this time, instead of repasturating it with manure, he's just doing it with accusations that lack veracity. It goes on to say, I am repeating it, Ron does not and cannot, consistent with the truth, allege any such threats. Also, even if defense counsel had threatened to report him to the state bar, which defense counsel did not threaten to do, that would not have been a violation. Quote, if a lawyer believes in good faith that the conduct of the opposing lawyer or party violates criminal or other laws, the lawyer may state that if the conduct continues, the lawyer will report it to criminal or administrative authorities. We can say, ooh, I'm going to have to report that to the state bar. We saw the judge talk about sanctions in Donna's case. Judge Everett was like, do I need to start talking about contempt when nobody was responding to him? And when they're asking for an OSC, they can say, Your Honor, you made all of these motions in limine, which are egregious violations. You made these motions in limine and he egregiously violated them in front of the jury. That's sanctionable and reportable conduct. I think defense counsel is hoping he'll get sanctioned and the sanctions will require him to report to the state bar. So they're probably just waiting until there's an amount of sanctions. Because depending on the amount of sanctions, it's a self-report to the state bar. And this is an if, I'm not saying this has happened. And if they bring that up, the other sanctions, the $22,000 we saw in the footnote and talked about yesterday, will also come up. And if those things weren't reported to the state bar would need to look at why. Because if you get sanctioned $22,000 for discovery violations, you have to self-report yourself to the state bar. So, and that's in addition to Judge Mel Red Rakana reporting him to the state bar for getting into some kind of clusterfuck with opposing counsel in the hallway, causing a mistrial to be declared. So, at what point does the reprimand of this attorney become a formal reprimand? Because right now, the state bar website shows nothing. That doesn't mean there's not been informal reprimands, but it doesn't show any formal disciplinary actions. Which is surprising to me, though it shouldn't be, given the hands-on with another attorney. Maybe it's wild to me, but I think in a professional conduct or a professional context that is not rugby, MMA, medical, in law, there is no reason you should ever be hands-on with opposing counsel. That should be a formal disciplinary matter. Like, hands to yourself, use your words. What are we doing? You caused a mistrial. If it was rugby, it's different. God. I need a Lone Amar to just come running down like the court hallway and just like straight arm this dude. Just into a wall. Boink. That would be great. Thanks. I mean, well, we'll leave it at that. Emily, we can't run down the road of rugby. Though I have questions. Like, what would Alessi say? He would say, I don't have to deal with attorneys like this at my firm. We do such large multinational litigation. Like, this never comes up. This is not the thing that we're dealing with. Oh boy. The motion goes on to say, equally conclusory and false are Ron's accusations that defense counsel supposedly unlawfully made contact and assaulted and battered him. It's wild to me that this attorney is making that accusation. It's wild. It's just, he's touching me, he's touching me, he's touching me. What? It's such a wild threat and it's just crazy. he goes on to say counsels did not even meet until the July 30th, 2025 final status conference in Department T. Of course it is. As a result, the only times that Ron and Mr. Anderson were in the same place at the same time are 1, in Department T for the final status conference, and 2, in Department T and the hallway outside the department during trial. Well, right, because Ron never deposed Cardi B. Also wild. Well, not wild. Indicative of a belief that this case would settle. It goes on to say, it is a measure of his desperation at being called out for his own misconduct that Ron would suggest, even under oath in his declaration, that a supposed assault and battery in Department T or its adjacent hallway went unnoticed by the court personnel, other counsel, the public, and the numerous sheriff's deputies present throughout the trial, and also went unreported by Ron. And there's a declaration attached. If Mr. Anderson had put a breath on Ron, do you think he would have come back into court and been like, Your Honor, we have something that we need to address immediately? Oh, 100% he would. There were times that this man came back into court when we were watching trial, and he was like, Your Honor, I tried to talk to Dr. Fvkery, and he wouldn't talk to me. He brought it up, and he questioned Dr. Fvkery about it. If there had been any type of anything, even if counsel had said, you don't have to talk to him, it would have been put on the record at that time. Because he brought it up to the court that Mr. Fvkery, Dr. Fingernail wouldn't talk to him. How would you leave this out? He would have asked for sanctions. He would have asked for more time. He would have asked for an afternoon to take a breath. There's an affidavit attached. His accusation of assault and battery by defense counsel is beyond preposterous and an obvious falsehood. Add it to the list. Add it to the list. Make lying in his declaration number 26. Add it to the list. He is an officer of the court. Lying in a declaration, signed, sealed, delivered, is also a violation, A, of that duty, and technically perjurous. It is a false statement under oath. So you have your duty of candor to the court, and then you have a signed affidavit. We'll go look at the signed affidavit again. We didn't go through all of it because it was just duplicative, but it's in his signed affidavit under penalty of perjury. On to Cardi B now. Ron also includes in his application and declaration hearsay assertions as to Cardi B supposedly injuring someone. His assertions are not only inadmissible and inaccurate, but are irrelevant to his application. Counsel, this is like 4 times now. This is like 4 times that you have picked a string of words to alliterate. I'm going to have to annotate the pattern. Inadmissible, inaccurate, irrelevant. We love that alliteration, don't we? He's like, it's letter I's turn, and I'm sticking with it. In addition to his complete failure to provide a legal and evidentiary basis for his requested order to show cause, Ron submits no memorandum of points and authorities and no proposed order to show cause. His untimely application is a transparent attempt to detract from Cardi B's timely application, and his application should be denied. 100%. 100%. A non-mouse said duplicative and duplicitous. Yes. Counsel. Next time. Duplicative and duplicitous. It would be great. Anderson's having fun with it. I think so. I think Anderson is just like, the fuck is this? Bullshit brought to you by the letter I. Yep. He also brought the letter U into the fight earlier. In addition to his complete failure to provide a legal and evidentiary basis for his requested OSC, Ron submits no memorandum of PNA. Next section. Ron does not rebut Cardi B's application for an OSC directed to him. Cardi B's application meticulously establishes 25 violations by Ron of the court's orders and the rules of professional responsibility and accepted trial conduct. Make it 26. Put that declaration in there. Make it 26. Let's go. In the meantime, his application includes half-hearted shots at Cardi B's application, but none of them land. Yes, no one is being tarred. Ron dismisses her application as quote-unquote frivolous. But her application is supported by the transcript and established law, proving his violations of the court's orders and his trial misconduct. He misquotes her application as stating he is a quote-unquote seasoned trial lawyer and denies that supposed assertion. Back to I'm just a baby. Your Honor, I don't know. Yet he does not dispute that he was admitted to practice over 20 years ago. And proving Cardi B's point that he is no novice, he volunteers that he has tried approximately 10 different cases and served as co-counsel in several others. Of course, even a novice lawyer is able to comply with judges' orders in limine and as to closing argument. The fact that Mr. Ron is no novice, yet still repeatedly violated those orders, confirms that Cardi B's application for an OSC directed at Ron should be granted. Yeah, it should. It's like you're doing this shit intentionally and don't give a fuck. That's how it appears. Conclusion. Apparently recognizing that he cannot meaningfully oppose Cardi B's application for an OSC directed at him, he resorts to untimely, baseless, and offensive application of his own that both fails on the merits and is false through and through. His application should be denied and sanctions against him seriously considered. No, but really, Your Honor, checkbook. Checkbook. Checkbook and lawyer's fees. Declaration of Mr. Anderson, adult, licensed attorney, represents Cardi B. Declaration is submitted in response to Ron's ridiculous. I'm trying to come up with another word. Ridicule worthy? That's two. Recalcitrant? No. Rambling. Thank you, chat. Live Free 7 said rambling. Rudimentary. Amanda Mothercats at Law. Yes. Ridiculous, rambling, and rudimentary. Yes. Ooh, this is good. Hold on. We've now got Ron's ridiculous, rambling, rudimentary rantings that are also rude. Ooh, repulsive's a good one too. You guys are 10 out of 10, chat. So where are we? Ron's ridiculous, rambling, rudimentary, rude, redundant, reprehensible, and repulsive ramblings. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Oh, Chad is bae. Okay. Attached to this declaration as Exhibit 1 is a true and correct copies of pages 84 and 85 and 145 and 6 of the portions of the transcript of the proceedings in this action on September 2nd, 2025, marked to show the portions cited. In his application, oh, my nose itches. In his application, yes, there was a trash can under my desk over there. In his application, Ron argues that because his September 3rd, 2025. Oh, sorry. He said 3025. Counsel, no, we're not that far in the future. Not 3025, 2025. Letter to defense counsel went unanswered. He assumed that everything was fine and that the parties would be moving on. However, he fails to disclose to the court that his September 3rd, 2025 letter relayed a settlement proposal that ended by directing defense counsel to respond within 24 hours if your client wants to settle this case. They don't. Cardi B doesn't give a fuck about settling whatever you're asking to settle after she won. I don't have inside knowledge of that, but it's the reasonable speculation and conclusion. No response was provided because after prevailing at trial, there was no interest in his settlement proposal. Keep reading, Emily. Of course there was no interest in his settlement proposal. They won. Settle what? In his application declaration, Ron alleges that I threatened to report him to the state bar for violating the RPC. That accusation is false. And I also note that nowhere does he explain how that supposed threat was to obtain an advantage in this case. To the extent he refers to me raising to the court that he violated the court's in limine orders and court directions, not to argue in closing facts not in evidence, which the court had cautioned him would violate the RPC, that was not a threat to report him to the bar, let alone a threat in order to obtain an advantage. I mean, he should be reported to the bar. The motions in limine are just such an egregious violation. In his application, Ron states that I supposedly, quote, unlawfully made contact and assaulted and battered him. Those accusations also are false. Indeed, the only time in my life that he and I have ever been at the same place at the same time was in courtroom T during the July 30th final status conference and during trial. And I hope to never be in the same place again. That's just my supposition. They were also in the hallway outside the courtroom during trial. Throughout the trial, there were many witnesses in multiple sheriff's departments and Deputy T and the hallway adjacent to it. Ron's assertions that he was assaulted and battered in front of those witnesses and the sheriff's deputies is beyond absurd. As for Dr. Finke, Dr. Finke testified he arrived in the hallway outside Department T and was talking to members of the defense team. Shortly after Dr. Finke arrived, Ron walked quickly towards me and others, including Dr. Finke, and said loudly he wanted to talk to Dr. Finke. I asked Dr. Finke if he wanted to speak to Ron, and Dr. Finke said he did not. How do you think he approached him? Excuse me, doctor, if you have a moment, I would like to speak to you. Or, hey, I want to talk to you. I'm just curious. And he asked about that in testimony. He said, I approached you outside and you wouldn't talk to me. And the doctor said, no, I wouldn't talk to you. He asked about it. I asked Dr. Finke if he wanted to speak to Mr. Rosen, and Dr. Finke said he did not. So I asked Ron to please leave him alone. And then when Ron insisted on talking to Dr. Fvkery, the sheriff's deputies stationed in the hallway approached and told Ron to step away and leave him alone. Look, man, the sheriff's deputies are generally assigned to a courthouse for a period of time. Alhambra's not a massive courthouse. It would not be difficult for the court to ask the deputies that were there to testify at an OSC. If I were the court, I would. If I were the court, I would 100% put the sheriff deputies' recollection of what happened on the record. Because it's a serious accusation. And I think the court should go above and beyond to prove that it is a lie. Because I could only imagine that the sheriff's deputies would say, oh, he was being loud. And we were like, hey, stop. It's the hallway. There might be jurors around. Oh, counsel, Mr. Anderson, I doubt any of you are watching this, but if you are, counsel in the Geragos case called Ron a menace in the hallways. I'm just saying, we seem to be establishing some type of a pattern of menacing behavior in the hallways. Are you shocked that Dr. Fvkery was like, I don't want to talk to that guy? If you wanted to talk to Dr. Fvkery, chat. All of the non-lawyers in the chat, all of the non-paralegals in the chat, all of you know, if he wanted to talk to Dr. Fvkery in the hallway, how could he have done it? Right. Deposition. He could have just deposed him. Right. He could have just subpoenaed him for a depo and follow the rules. There's like a process for it. Also, if any of you have junior high school students that are starting like a garage band, I think Hallway Menace is hilarious. It would be a hilarious name for a junior high school garage band. All right. Continuing on, when Mr. Ron insisted on talking to poor Dr. Fvkery, the sheriff's deputies stationed in the hallway approached and told him to step away. At no point was there any physical contact or yelling, and if there had been, it would have been directly in front of the sheriff's deputies. I never saw Ron outside the courthouse, and when I left the courthouse, there were multiple sheriff's deputies in the hallway and outside the entrance to the courthouse, signed under penalty of perjury. Because there would have been additional sheriff's deputies because Cardi B is a recognizable, well-known mega celebrity. Not like kind of known. She is a celebrity. There would have been extra sheriff's deputies just to make sure that members of the public didn't get weird or members of the press didn't cause a problem. Every time celebrities came to the courthouse that I worked at when I was there were always extra deputies because it creates an extra potential for a situation that members of the public don't normally deal with. Emily said, manipulative, mendacious menace. Right. All right. Exhibit number 1. This is from September 2nd, reporter's transcript. We're going to go through this a little bit because we have time. The court. Don't speak with her, okay? So you don't talk to her about the trial at all. Ms. Schmidt, absolutely not. The court. Okay, all right. We thought that there may have been some discussion between the two of you. You don't recall that. Ms. Diane Schmidt, no. Okay, all right, thank you. All right, well, something else? Oh, that was the end of the colloquy with the plaintiff's mother about whether or not she had spoken to the alternate juror. This case, though not an extensive amount of court days, so much shit happened that I had forgotten that there was concern that the plaintiff's mother had spoken to an alternate juror. So this is right after that. The court, okay, well, something else. Mr. Anderson, yes, Your Honor. Although you cautioned counsel that he can't argue things that are not in evidence, he repeatedly did. He even started talking about Dr. Avila's treatment, even though he was excluded over and over again. It goes on to say, I would also ask that you assign misconduct to counsel and that he be reprimanded because this has just been ongoing. The court, okay, we can discuss. Ron, I want to respond. The court, oh, some of you are saying the grandmother, not the mother. It might have been the grandmother, not the mother. Fair. I trust Chad. Chad is saying grandma. Grandma, not mom. Fair. The court, okay, we can discuss. Ron, I want to respond. The court, well, let me do this. I'll give you further instruction to the jury that the argument of counsel is not evidence, that they should disregard any comments that were not supported by the evidence. I will give that instruction. We can discuss whether or not we want to set an OSC after the trial for the alleged conduct. Mr. Anderson, thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Moore, Your Honor, may I please say one thing? The court, go ahead. Ms. Moore, I just want to note that you advised Mr. Rosen that if he were to argue to the jury that Cardi said the photograph was taken on February 25th, that would be a knowing violation of professional rules. And that's exactly what he did. The court, okay, well, Ron, I want to respond. The court, why don't we? I don't want to do it now. Ron, well, I have to say something about it. The court, you don't. I've said we'll discuss whether or not we want to set an OSC. We want OSC. We want OSC. We want an OSC, Your Honor. Do it. Oh, Emily, you have a soundbite for that.
Do it.
I was pretty close on that one, though, I must say. Ron, well, I have to say something about it. The court, you don't. I've said we'll discuss whether or not we want to set an OSC, and we will address it then. Mr. Anderson, thank you, Your Honor. Ron, okay. That was the most reluctant okay in the world. Recess was taken. The court were on the record outside the presence of the jury. Counsel are present with the parties. With respect to speaking with people, let's see, is this page going linearly? That was page 85. This is page 145. Okay, so the bottom of the page cuts off. Counsel are present with the parties, and then we jump to another period in time. This is the court dismissing the jury, jurors excused. The court. We're going to have an OSC regarding a proposed judgment on the jury verdict. Can I have defense submit a proposed judgment on the jury verdict for 9/16 at 8:30? If a proposed judgment is valid, that will go off calendar. Ron, Your Honor, I believe that's around the Jewish holidays, so I want to take something in later in October. So when we talked about September 16th, he brought up the holidays and said, I want to do that later in October. And the court said it's the date for him to file a proposed verdict, him being Mr. Anderson. Ron, is there a court appearance? There will be no court appearance? The court said correct. Ron said, all right, thank you. So he had already brought it up with the other deadline, but didn't bring it up with the October 2nd deadline. So he was aware. The court. All right. Anything further? Why don't you, and this is the court, if you want to request an OSC regarding attorney misconduct, you can request one, and the court will determine whether or not it wants to set one on its own. Mr. Anderson, is there a deadline for that, Your Honor? The court, how about within the next 30 days? Mr. Anderson, that's fine. Ron. Plaintiff will do the same. The plaintiff preserves the right to appeal. Thank you, Your Honor. The court, thank you. All right. And the exhibits, the plaintiff's exhibits. You wanted the plaintiff to keep Mr. Anderson, plaintiff, I apologize. Plaintiff wanted to keep the exhibits. Defendant would like to keep them. There was a lack of trust. Mr. Anderson, you think? There was a lack of trust. Seems like an understatement. Seems like an understatement, Your Honor. We're not giving plaintiff's counsel the exhibits. We'll keep the exhibits. Thanks. The court said, in that case, the court will keep them. How is that? Mr. Anderson, fine. Ron, thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Anderson, also, Your Honor, we just want to thank you. The court, all right, thank you. I appreciate that. Mr. Anderson and the staff and the court staff, the court, all right, thank you. The court was like, yes, thank you. Thank you. You appreciate the court staff. Great. But the court's like, children, I'll hold on to the exhibits. That's the official transcript, signed, sealed, delivered. Oh boy. So, are we surprised that we get through Cardi B's attorney's response? And the response is, excuse me, Your Honor, everything that guy said is bullshit. Just cue my cousin Vinny. We learn a few interesting things in the reply, though. We learn that the email that Ron sent to Cardi B's attorney, Mr. Anderson, was not regarding the OSC, it seems, but it was an offer for settlement. Right? So September 2nd, Cardi B gets a favorable jury verdict. September 3rd, Ron emails counsel saying, if your client wants to settle, respond to us in the next 24 hours. Girl, settle what? So you don't appeal it? Okay, you go spend your time and energy appealing it. Sure. He asked to settle it on September 3rd. So, of course, Mr. Anderson said, Your Honor, this offer of settlement had absolutely nothing to do with whether or not we would be moving forward with the OSC. He also points out that where Ron said that there was a assault and battery, those are the words that he used, in the hallway while Dr. Fvkery was there, he said, no, Your Honor. In Mr. Anderson's declaration, he said, we were in the hallway. Mr. Ron came over to us and said that he wanted to talk to Dr. Fvkery. I said to Dr. Fvkery, do you want to talk to that guy? Dr. Fvkery said, no. And so I said, he doesn't want to talk to you. And then Ron persisted about wanting to talk to Dr. Fvkery. And then the sheriffs said, hey, step away. That's not at all what Ron said happened in his sworn affidavit. So do we have count number 26 of Attorney Rosen misrepresenting things to the court in a sworn declaration? I have questions. Oh. And on page 1, Cardi B's attorneys dropped a footnote including the articles that we have read about the hallway Geragos case and including the fact that he had been previously sanctioned over $22,000 in that Geragos case, which is exactly what we need to talk about next. We need to talk about the Geragos case. But I think I'm real curious if anything else got filed today because this hearing's on Friday. So let me just look real quick at the LA court website. They just redid their entire website. So let me pull this up real quick and see if there are any additional documents. There weren't last night. I would be surprised if there were any new filings this morning. But one never knows. Before we move on to the other case, we might as well take a look. So let me try to pull up those documents real quick, and then we'll pull up the documents from the Geragos case. How's that sound, chat? Does that sound like we're a chat with a plan? I'm very, very interested to see what happens at that hearing tomorrow. And unfortunately, I don't think there will be, or Friday. I would be surprised if there were cameras there, but I will reach out to the court and A, see if it's accessible to view via Zoom, and B, see if I can get a transcript. I'm invested. I really want to know what happens. I'm curious. Crazy Cat Queen in the chat said, I never thought watching Real Law would still give me the soap opera that I needed in my life. It really is. It's very dramatic. Look, there are times when I talk about lawyers in reference to Chicago and give them the old razzle dazzle. It's not wrong. Like, lawyers are book nerdy theater kids that are just like, you can see the performance aspect of law, the art of being able to persuade, being able to question, and also being able to keep a jury invested in what you're saying. And we have seen some attorneys do that better than others. There's attorneys that try to do it and do it well. There's attorneys that try to do it and fall flat. And there's attorneys that are just like, so on this date, this thing happened. And you're going to hear from this witness and they're going to tell you this. And then you're going to hear from this witness and they're going to tell you this. And then you're going to hear from this witness and they're going to tell you this. And then you're going to hear from this witness and then they're going to tell you this. And that's not fun at all. They should be transactional lawyers. Look, if you don't love talking in front of people, litigation's not for you. If you do love talking in front of people, if adrenaline is your favorite thing, if you miss playing sports, litigation's probably for you. Unless that sport is rugby, you cannot scrum with co-counsel or opposing counsel in the hallway. No new filings. Sad. Sad face. Let's see. Let's make sure nothing is updated on the docket real quick. So let me pull the docket and see if there's been any docket update real quick. Can just go to the courthouse page. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to make sure the docket didn't update today and change dates before we... Again, though we did it last night. No, you know what? I'll pull the docket after we talk about this case because it's going to take me a minute to navigate. Again, new website, who this, which I get. Let's talk about the other case, the Geragos case, the schoolyard glasses stomping ridiculousness. What we have gathered about that case is that there is an underlying attorney malpractice litigation action. That underlying attorney malpractice is attorney Ron with his clients suing Mark Geragos and the Geragos firm. And I think it's Geragos, not Geragos. And when I say Geragos, it just sounds like Gyarados, like the Pokemon. And I try not to. And for those of you that remember my more recent intercation, my more recent interaction with Mark Geragos, it was funny. But he and I have met recently, and then he was regularly in the courthouses that I worked at. So we came across each other at work and have some mutuals, but don't well know each other. We vaguely know each other through work things. So he and his firm are being sued for attorney malpractice. The attorney malpractice stems from a medical malpractice case. So the underlying case was medical malpractice. There was not a favorable outcome for the family of the deceased. They decided to sue their lawyer. Not uncommon. So in trying to sue their lawyer, part of what needs to be proven at trial is if the lawyer would have obtained a different outcome. So when you are doing an attorney malpractice case like that, you almost have to do a trial on the underlying thing. So like this is what the underlying medical malpractice case was about. And this is what could have happened in the medical malpractice case. And the attorneys did this thing. Did the attorneys doing this change the outcome of that? And was the attorney behavior malpractice as regard to the medical malpractice case? It's fairly complex, and those trials can be long because the jury has to decide almost the medical malpractice case and see all the information in the medical malpractice case, and then look at the attorney malpractice case. So it's not a simple litigation. That's a fairly complex litigation to go through. And that trial was 2 weeks in when a mistrial was declared after there was a kerfuffle between attorney Ron Rosen and Steve B, because there's numerous Steves involved. And so the court, Judge Mel Redwicana, declared a mistrial and recused himself from the case. So the case went to another court. That was in 2023. Underlying all of that, within that same case, there were discovery issues. And during the discovery issues is when attorney Ron was sanctioned over $22,000 for discovery violations. He's representing the family who is suing the Geragos firm for the underlying medical malpractice for the decedent who passed away in hospital at 21. So the family that is suing the Geragos firm is in the hands of Ron. So there's that. Maggie P said, do we know if these incidents happened in the same courthouse, different courthouses? No, different courthouses. The Alhambra courthouse is where Cardi B's case is. Downtown is where the underlying medical malpractice case is. So in the underlying medical malpractice, legal malpractice case, the Geragos case, we're just going to call it the Geragos case. In the Geragos case, Ron was fined $22,000 for discovery violations. It's wild to me when you are the plaintiff suing for attorney malpractice that you're violating discovery. What are you doing? That went up on appeal. So this is the backstory on the sanctions, and then we will get to what's going on in the still ongoing Geragos case. So Ron appealed the sanctions. The Court of Appeals ruled against Ron in 2024. The hallway kerfuffle was in 2023. So we're not going to go through all of it, but we're going to look briefly at the underlying facts of the attorney sanctions. Vexatious Parrot said, I wonder if that family had any inkling of how ridiculous Ron was before they hired him. No, I'm sure they didn't. I'm sure that there were a lot of attorneys in Los Angeles when the family went to them, and this is purely speculation from working in Los Angeles. I imagine this family went to a lot of attorneys and said, we need to sue our attorney for legal malpractice. Who's your attorney? Mark Geragos. And they said, I have a conflict. Either I'm on a case with the Geragos firm. I've had a case currently with the Geragos firm. I have worked with them. So I can't help you because I have a conflict with them. I imagine there's some lawyers who are like, I'm not taking on attorney malpractice suits in the jurisdiction where I don't want to do that. And we know that families that were victims of Tom Girardi had a difficult time finding lawyers that were willing to sue Tom Girardi. It happens. I don't want to diminish what the family has been through with this analogy, and I am not trying to do that. But there are going to be lawyers that do not want to get into any potential drama with suing a high-profile lawyer that works in the same jurisdiction they work in, who they might have cases together with. They might have cases in the future. There are a lot of lawyers that are going to sidestep that and be like, nope. There are some lawyers who will jump in with both feet, but it's difficult because Los Angeles, though large, can be a small legal community. And not all lawyers are going to want to take that on. So I imagine the family had some frustration in that. Navigating hiring lawyers while you're also navigating potentially years of litigation in the medical malpractice case has to be emotionally and physically exhausting. It can also be financially exhausting. So I feel so badly for the family because I don't know how they would know this. And I imagine, purely my speculation, I imagine, like Tom Girardi and others, that when this family sat down across a desk in an office with this attorney, he made them feel heard. He made them feel like he would fight for them. He made them feel like he had their back. And they were like, somebody gets it and somebody's willing to take our case. And that probably felt like a huge relief. Girardi's clients talked about how incredibly charismatic and charming he was, how supported they felt. And then when they were like, hey, where's that money? He started threatening them and hanging up the phone on them because they then saw the other side. So I imagine that they felt supported. And you have no way to know what this lawyer is going to do. It sucks. So, Serenade said, I have to wonder if a more honorable lawyer would tell them that filing against Geragos just wouldn't work, and Ron decided it was time to parachute in. It's possible. It's possible that other lawyers looked at this and said, unfortunately, this is not a strong med mal case. I have not evaluated, attorney malpractice case. I have not evaluated it. But if an attorney looks at the medical malpractice case underlying and then looks at the legal malpractice case, other attorneys might have said, this is going to be a really tough one for you. So, Miguelina and editors, just a side note, I see that the white balance keeps shifting. I apologize. I will work on the lights. Note to self, I will work on the lights to try to fix that before we stream again. It's making me crazy too. Chat, I'm sorry. It just, the ADHD. Like the ADHD of it all. It just is. When I deleted all of my light presets by accident because I was trying to do something else too late. Because if I didn't finish the project, I would never come back to it. It was that. So let's look at the appeal with regard to the sanctions of Ron. We're going to go over it kind of quickly and then we'll look at the rest of it. This case is Hershey versus Geragos and Geragos. This is the order not for the official records, which doesn't change anything for our purposes. August 21st, 2024. Appellants Hershey et al. Appeal from orders imposing monetary sanctions against their counsel, Ron, for discovery violations in their legal malpractice case against respondents Geragos and Geragos and Mark Geragos. Appellants contend the trial court erred in imposing sanctions because they did not file oppositions to respondents' motions to compel discovery responses. We disagree and affirm the orders. No, sanctions are fine. They are going to give us a little bit of the background. And the reason I'm going through a little bit of the background is just so we have a background on the underlying case, because the fact that it mistried with everything going on in this case gives you some inclination of the weight of all of this. Appellants filed a legal malpractice action against respondents, their former attorneys, alleging various acts of professional negligence in handling product liability and medical malpractice claims. When a number of discovery disputes arose, the trial court ordered the matter sent to a discovery referee and appointed a retired superior court judge. Not uncommon. I wish it had happened in some of the other cases we've watched, but the judge said, y'all need a babysitter. Go to the discovery referee. And then the discovery referee, on a more granular level, handles the discovery dispute instead of trying to go back and forth to court. Court dockets in LA are so fucked and backed up. There are, in my opinion, not enough judges, and there are quite a lot of cases. Los Angeles is a large county with lots of people. There's also lots of lawyers. There's lots of lawsuits. So courts get really backed up. And when courts get that backed up, you can't wait 6 months to get back to court on a discovery dispute. So it gets sent out to a referee so that you can get rulings from the court faster and work through the discovery issues and then come back. We saw this happen in some of the Britney Spears stuff as it was getting ready to go to trial on the 12th accounting, and we've seen this elsewhere. I think it is a good way to move cases along without everything languishing for a million years. So the discovery referee is a retired judge that handles the discovery dispute between the parties without them having to go back into court all the time. The disputes included motions filed by respondents to compel further responses to their interrogatories and requests for production of documents. Everybody who's just like, whoo, I know, we're getting into civil procedure. Anyone who is studying for anything law, you're welcome. Anyone who's not, I know, it's civil. We'll get through it. Don't worry. For those of you that are newer to me, I was a civil research attorney for a number of judges before I went to the DA's office. I immediately clocked that civil was not my vibe. Vibes are off. Love the experience. Glad I had it. Vibes are off. Criminal law was the place for me. This, not so much. But the disputes included discovery responses. In the motions, respondents sought monetary sanctions under the code and attorney's fees and costs incurred to seek the discovery orders. So, hey, you fucked up. We had to spend all this time and money fighting you not doing what you're supposed to do. So not only should you be sanctioned and punished for what you did, go think about it, but also we need you to pay the attorney's fees and cost. All the money we spent trying to get you to do the thing you were obligated to do, pay it back. Which I don't hate. I think if attorneys are being extreporous and aren't following the discovery rules, they should have to pay the other side's attorney's fees. 100% they should. I don't think their clients should have to pay it. I think the lawyer should have to pay it because it's the lawyer's job to follow the rules. And if their client says, I want you to do this, it's the attorney's job to say to the client, yeah, we're not doing that. So Lexi T in the chat said, civil law is very labor intensive. It's a ton of work. Correct. Not only that, like lots of deadlines, and it's so contentious. It's a lot of you suck and you suck and no. The you suck emails just, ugh. They go on to say appellants, and appellants is Ron and his clients, respondents is Geragos. Appellants did not file oppositions. Instead, they served supplemental responses. The discovery referee made recommendations on the proper resolution of respondents' motions in 3 reports. She also recommended monetary sanctions be imposed solely on appellant's counsel, Ron. The recommendation was based on findings that Ron misused discovery by making unmeritorious objections, giving evasive responses, violating the court's discovery order, deliberately misrepresenting the date on which the responses were served, and engaging in dilatory conduct designed to delay. Oh, there we go again. Let's go, Court of Appeals. Dilatory conduct designed to delay and impede discovery and trial preparation. Go off. So the discovery referee said this is the conduct that Ron was engaging in. Misusing discovery by making unmeritorious, unfounded objections, being evasive. I'm shocked. violating the court's discovery order. Oh, wow. Deliberately misrepresenting the date on which the responses were served, which is gross. And engaging in dilatory conduct designed to delay and impede discovery. The trial court adopted the discovery referee's recommendations and issued 3 orders requiring appellant's counsel to pay a total of $22,933 in monetary sanctions. One order from March 30th, one from April 4th, and one from May 8th, all in 2023. On May 25th, 2023, appellants filed a timely appeal from the orders imposing sanctions. What we are looking at is the appeal. So, that is the underlying conduct. I don't think we need to go through the rest of the appeal order. The court says that sanctions under $5,000 are not appealable, so they're not looking at the first order. They go through the law, the standard of review, the legal framework. Monetary sanctions are authorized by the law. We're just kind of scrolling through the headlines on this without wading too deeply into the fight over discovery sanctions. But at the end of the day, the orders imposing sanctions are affirmed. Yeah, pay the money. The attorney has to pay that. Pay the money. This was issued, sorry for the scrolling, by the Court of Appeal in 2024, August 2024. So the question is, what now? What is happening in that underlying case now? Well, I have an updated minute order from May 2025. So let's take a look real quick at what is going on in the underlying attorney malpractice suit with Geragos and Geragos. Because the biggest question I had when looking at that appeal and the fact that there was a mistrial, the mistrial was in July of 2023. All the sanctions were in 2020. Well, the appeal was in 2024. The sanctions were issued in 2023 leading up to that trial. And then the mistrial in July. So those were from March, April, and May. So all the discovery leading up to trial starting in June, July of 2023. So here's the latest minute order in that case. I was wondering if Ron was still the attorney of record. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Plaintiff's attorney, Ron. Defendant attorney, Barry Brodowski, and Steve Beliov, Steve B. May 13th, 2025. Final status conference. The matter is called for hearing. The court announces it's currently engaged in another trial. The courtroom is full. Final status conference is continued to December 2nd, 2025. Department 49, Stanley Mosque. Jury trial is continued to December 8th, 2025, Stanley Mosque. Motions remain open. All prior orders remain in full effect. Steve may pick up subpoena records received by Department 45 on June 1st, 2023, and received by Department 49 on November 14th, 2024, and provide copies to plaintiff's counsel. Notice is waived. It's going to trial in December of this year. So this case isn't even done yet. The mistrial from 2023 is not done. So they still have a full trial on the Geragos case. So this case has gotten loosely added to my docket because I'm actually really curious about what's going to happen. But it is starting trial again. I now feel invested because A, Ron's behavior is ridiculous. B, I'm actually curious if there is attorney malpractice. C, I'm curious about what the underlying medical malpractice suit is. But this is the kind of case we're probably not going to see other than legal coverage from like the ABA and the Daily Journal and things like that. We're not going to see cameras in the courtroom on this case. That's probably going to be a 3 or 4 week trial. But I'm really curious. So it's going on my docket. We're going to peek back in probably in the new year after this goes to trial. If the trial gets continued, I will let you know. But it's going to be an extensive trial. I'm curious. So, for those of you asking about the attorney's record, there is no formal state bar discipline showing on this attorney's record. None. That doesn't mean there hasn't been discipline. But there is no formal discipline. On the State Bar website, you can search for attorneys. It took me a little bit of time yesterday to find him. But if there has been disciplinary actions that are formal, you will see it. But when there are informal actions, they will tell the attorney to, do whatever remediation, go take the MPRE again, refamiliarize yourself with the rules of professional conduct. But there has not been any formal action. So we will see. It's an interesting thing to follow along with the wildness. And then when I say things like in the Girardi case, in the Murdaugh case, when I talk about how wild it is that all of this had been going on, when you start to see other patterns of attorneys wilding out, I think it's fair to highlight it because we saw it in real time and we saw things happen in the Cardi B case. And I think she handled herself on the stand with incredible composure. But when you see attorneys doing things that you're like, that's taking zealous advocacy beyond, it's curious to kind of go a little bit underneath the tip of that iceberg and see what else is going on. And then there's a fight in the hallway and you're like, what the fuck is happening? But the few attorneys that I reached out to and was like, have you heard of this guy? His reputation precedes him. And we're going to leave it at that. His reputation precedes him. He doesn't seem to have endeared himself to those who have appeared opposing him. And I just wonder if his perception of that is, it's because I'm such a good attorney. It's because I fight for my clients. I imagine his perception is, they hate us because they ain't us. And that's not what I see in lawyers. What I see in lawyers, when they look at other lawyers that are excellent, there might be times where they're like, that's not my favorite person, but damn, they're good in a courtroom. Oftentimes, especially good, secure, whole lawyers, like game recognizes game. Good lawyers can look at other lawyers, even if they don't like the way that they do things and say, yeah, good argument. Yeah, they're good in court. I mean, I don't love them. They're not my favorite person, but they're hard to go against. And then there's this dude. Other lawyers aren't saying, I'm not surprised, because of his advocacy skills. It's because of the wilding out. And we have seen accusations of blatant misrepresentations. We've seen blatant misrepresentations ourselves with our own eyeballs. We've watched it happen. And it's wild because he doesn't seem to think there's anything wrong with it. Like, there were times that I did not love the way Attorney Rotten, that if his If his direction for the case, the way he gave his opening statement, had been followed, that case could have gone very differently in Depp v. Heard, and Ron Bourne had a solid argument for that case. It seemed that nobody listened to him. So it's just wild. It's just wild. It's wild to watch it unfold, and it's wild to see just the shameless audacity of gaslighting the court, misrepresenting things to the court, and forgetting that zealous advocacy does not negate a duty of candor to the court. Law is not a win-at-all-cost game. And when lawyers treat law like it's win at all costs, it's a huge problem. It's a huge problem. There are rules. If the rules are not followed by lawyers, by jurors, or whatever, it is something that needs to be taken seriously. And I think we just saw that in the Karen Reed grand jury case. We saw the court take very seriously a grand juror not taking their duty seriously. And it's frustrating. A lot of you are saying that you're having stream glitches. I see that the stream health is totally fine on my end. So it might be a YouTube end. I would refresh your YouTubiness. So my stream health looks good. I would refresh it. It's not just y'all. Let's get to question, because it seems like a lot of you are having some YouTube glitchies. Go ahead and refresh. A lot of you had to refresh. Okay. So let's just get to getting. Let's see. Tyrone in the chat asked if super chats are turned off. I don't think so. But let's see. I don't think, oh, I only see super stickers on my end. That's not a setting from me, but also if you're members, you should have your members chats. Members, if you don't see your members chats, let me know. I don't see it. I don't see them on my end. Some of you see them. Don't send them. Some of you said you can see them. You might need to just refresh because I don't see them on my end. Make sure you guys see members chats. Thank you, Tiff Eddie. So some of you are seeing them. Some of you are not. I would just refresh. You guys are sweet to test. You don't have to test. You just have to look and see if you can. You have the option. All right. It's probably a refresh issue. Let's get to some questions, and then I am going to go take care of my kiddo because but we're going to get to some Q&As. All of your member chats are working great. Great. Nikki asked, where do I find member chats? They're down where the super chats are, and you should see them down there if there's one available. You should see the option to send a member chat down in the area where the super chats are. But yes, it is time to fact around and find out. That is our update. If we have any calendar updates on this case for the Alhambra courthouse, thank you all for sending your member chat. I will send it in the Law Nerd app because today should be a little less disjointed. Thank you all for the beginning of the stream, for the well wishes for T. He just needs time to recover. He'll be fine. But it's been we'll talk about it another day. It's been a whirlwind couple of days, but that is not unexpected. Life keeps lifing, and we just work with it the best we can. So thank you all for understanding yesterday when we had to scoot, and Dr. B was like, so next to me there is my third monitor TV, and Dr. B was standing near my third monitor TV, which is like right here on camera, staring at me like while I was trying to wrap up. And I'm like, you're making me nervous. I can't. Also, I'm going to make myself cough. Also, we are going to do a members only tomorrow. We're not going to do a normal stream tomorrow. We're going to just do a members only because we stream Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So tomorrow we're going to do a members only. We have much to discuss. So tomorrow will be our members only. Do I know what time yet? No, I have to see what's going on with T. So we'll see. Let's get to getting. I love Vexatious Parrot in the chat said relative noob. Yep, total noob. Total noob to the streaming. I'm just a baby. I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen a lawyer say, but Your Honor, I'm unseasoned. It's just so the opposite of most lawyers being like, oh, I know everything in the world. Oh, really? How many trials have you done? I mean, well, I haven't been to trial per se. Oh. Okay, then. Wild, wild, wild. All right, let's fact around. Oh, I forgot that we were going to go take a look at what Cardi B said after the case. I remember that Miguelina grabbed it. I forgot we were going to watch it. We're not going to include it in our summary, but I think we should. We're going to go chat. We're going to go check it out again. Because I just want to make sure that my memory is where we all are. So let us check back in with Cardi B's post-verdict statement. And let me make sure. I think closed captioning is on. Let me pull closed captioning up. All right. Let's see what Cardi B had to say, because I'm pretty sure that she said nothing about not going after the OSC. Julie said, got to make sure you're not having a false memory. Yes. I'm waiting for that to come up with Ron. Right? I'm waiting. Your Honor, I created a false memory. I'm waiting for that to happen. All right, let's take a look.
First thing first, I want to thank my lawyers. I want to thank the jurors. I want to thank the judge. And I want to thank the respectful press. I really, really appreciate that. And I want to thank everybody at home supporting me. I know you guys having a little key with the moment, but to be honest with you, I have missed my kids' first day of school today. I missed my kids' last week of school yesterday because of this. And I'm not even playing around. I will, even if I'm in my deathbed, I swear to God, I will say it in my deathbed. I did not touch that woman. I did not.
Cardi B is like, first of all, I didn't do the thing she said. Like, look, I might have done some shit. I didn't do this shit. This shit was not me. It wasn't me.
That girl. I didn't lay my hands on that girl. And with that being said, this time around, I'm going to be nice. The next person that try to do a frivolous lawsuit against me, I'm going to countersue. And I'm going to make you pay. Because this is not okay. I think people have like this misinterpretation.
This time I'm going to be nice. Next time I'm going to countersue. She's not talking at all about not following up on the sanctions in this case. Not at all. This time I'm going to be nice. I'm not going to countersue. An OSC is not a countersuit. Oh, two very different things.
Of celebrities like is that, oh, well, we can ask for this and they're going to settle. You don't work at home and you don't work all day and you don't work for your money to give out your money. Mm-hmm. So don't ever think that I'm just going to give you my money that I work hard for. I don't lay in bed all day. I work all day and I work hard for my money for my kids and for people I take care of. So don't you ever think that you're going to sue me and I'm just going to settle and just give me my money. It's not going to happen.
I love that Cardi B is like, I'm not your ATM. And we saw this in the Jay-Z suit too. We saw in the Jay-Z suit where Jay-Z was saying, you're not just adding me to this Diddy stuff and thinking that I'm just going to settle and make it go away. So you send me a demand letter and are like, we won't file this publicly if you just settle and go away. And he was like, no, not the same circumstance at all. But I think we're going to see celebrities say, look, if you send me a demand letter for some shit I haven't done, I'm over it. I'll just keep my lawyer on retainer. I'd rather pay my lawyers than pay somebody who's trying to get some money out of me for something I didn't do. Now, when celebrities do shit, like anybody else, they're probably going to be a little bit more likely to settle. But no, they're not just going to be like, okay, make these allegations. And I have to wonder if the Depp Heard suit changed this a little bit and changed the landscape. Cardi, we're going to come right back. I just wonder if Depp Heard changed the landscape a little bit of, you know what? Go to court, put it on camera, and let people see what comes out. Just let everybody see what happens. Everybody can watch for themselves and decide. There's no gatekeeping it. Everyone can decide. Let's go to court. Let everybody see it. Gwyneth Paltrow too. I agree. Vexatious Parrot. It was really interesting watching the Gwyneth Paltrow case live because a lot of people don't have warm, fuzzy feelings to Gwyneth. But at the end of the case, people were like, look, I don't have warm, fuzzy feelings for Gwyneth. But that dude shouldn't have sued her. And though I don't think most of the media believes this, I believe this, that most people, when you show them the thing, even if they don't like the person, will be able to say, you know what, I don't like that person, or I don't care about that person, or I don't whatever. I nothing that person. But this suit wasn't proper, or I really like that person, but they shouldn't have done the thing. I think people have the ability to decide for themselves. Not everybody will agree, but people can decide for themselves. And just suing someone because they're perceived to be wealthy or perceived to have status isn't going to work. And Cardi B's like, it's not going to happen. I'm not doing it. Continuing on with our rewatch of her press conference that I think Ron misrepresented.
I do also want fans at home, though, not to find their social media, her family's social media,
leave them
her
alone.
social media, and bother her. I hope that this is something that I leave behind, that she leave behind. Don't go bother.
Right. Cardi B's done with this part of the case. The lawyers aren't done. She doesn't need to be in court again. Her lawyers are going to go to court and do the thing. Leave her alone. Don't at her. She's going to go on. I'm going to go on. The lawyers aren't done. That says nothing about the lawyers. The lawyers aren't done.
Her, don't be talking about her. Don't be talking about how she look. Don't call her no nasty names. Let's just put this behind. But I'm giving a warning. I am not that celeb that you're going to sue and you think it's going to settle. I'm not going to settle, especially when I'm super, completely innocent. I know I got a little reputation, but I swear to God, I'm innocent. I swear to God, like this, like.
I just adore her. But also, Cardi B's gone to trial that I am aware of at least 3 times. And she has won all of those cases. There's a Tasha K case. There was a copyright thing that went to trial, a tattoo case. And this case, there might be more. But on the cases she's gone to trial on, she's won.
Like I'm really innocent for real. And I just want to say thank you, everybody. It's been really tough. It's been really long nights for me. I'm in the middle of album rollout, so it's been late nights and early 5:30 in the morning. I gotta get up 5:30 so I can look like this for y'all. Muchas gracias para toda mi gente latina que me están soportando y vinieron toda la mañana. Ustedes se ven bien, maquillada, pelo, cuerpo bonito y vinieron para acá para show me support. 5 días. Y los hombres también.
All right. Then they go on to talk about her album launch. What was I going to say? First of all, I love her speaking Spanish, but she was talking about the wigs and being exhausted. But when we talk about the pen throwing, you know what? We never watched that. Should we watch the pen throwing? We never watched the pen throwing. But a reporter was asking her about being pregnant. At this point, she had not publicly talked about whether or not she was pregnant. And she threw a pen at the ground. But Nadia, do I know Spanish? Not well. I grew up in Southern California. I played water polo with some very lovely Puerto Ricans. So my Spanish is not proper. I am better at understanding than speaking. And I am better with slang and curse words than proper Spanish. But yeah, I grew up in Southern California, and the interwoven Spanish English is just a part of it. And I loved that. And when we were playing water polo, especially with the Puerto Rican team members, when things were getting busy, our goalie was Puerto Rican, and the goalie is kind of like your quarterback. So she would yell things at us in Spanish. And since at least half of our team was from Southern California, it just worked for all of us. But also a lot of the other teams did not know what we were talking about, which was amazing. So our team also just integrated that as well. It was fantastic. I absolutely loved it. So, but I just adore Cardi B. And she talked about her heritage a little bit on the stand when the attorney was asking her about it. But, you know, Titan Topsy said, LOL, of course, you're more knowledgeable in swear words. Famari said, I appreciate that you know what chisme is. I mean, it is a perfect word. It's like when we were talking about Sancho. Sancho being a perfect descriptor. It's perfect. It's just perfect. Thank you, Miguelina. All right, let's go find... We never watched the alleged pen throwing, so we'll go watch it right now. It is the one thing Travis has told me that he misses about Southern California is how much more he was able to speak Spanish in Southern California, because he also knows Spanish fairly well, better than me at the moment. Okay, let's continue on. He said my sister named her dog Sancho. I love it. I don't know I think this was at lunchtime when Cardi B was leaving for lunch. Her security guard is carrying her Murakami Louis Vuitton purse with all of the fun, bright colors. So let's take a peek real quick at what I wasn't going to even. But since it's come up in the motions, I feel like we're just evaluating the evidence. So let's see.
Hey, Cardi, you're beautiful.
Thank you.
Cardi, insiders are claiming that Offset is publicly bragging about getting you pregnant for the 4th time.
She had not told people she was pregnant yet. Stay out of her business.
Ooh. Hey, Cardi, you're beautiful.
Thank you.
Cardi, insiders are claiming
hold on. Before he yells this question, did you see how her security guard just put his arm out in case she wanted to grab his arm? Like, let's focus for a minute on how great her security is. Let's just focus on how aware of what she might need security is before we listen to this dude's questions. Because he puts his arm out so she can grab him if she needs it, but it's subtle. Love it. Love, love.
Hey, Cardi, you're beautiful.
Right there.
Thank you.
Cardi, insiders are claiming that Offset is publicly bragging about getting you pregnant for the 4th time. Do you foresee any paternity issues with Stefan Diggs?
Stop.
I love that she took somebody else's pen and threw it away. This dude's waiting outside the courthouse for her to sign an album cover. And he has like a Sharpie for her to sign the album cover, and she picks it up and throws it at the ground. Also, not pregnant with Offset's baby. Like, why are we bringing this up? No wonder she was talking about the respectful press. And no, she did not hurl. That was left-handed anger if I've ever seen it. That was left-handed anger. That was just like asking her about paternity issues before she's even said publicly that she's pregnant. Oh, no. Correction. Cardi B's left-handed. It's right-handed anger. Non-dominant hand anger. This is non-dominant hand anger from her. She did not hurl it at him.
Are claiming that Offset is publicly bragging about getting you pregnant for the 4th time. Do you foresee any paternity issues with Stefan Diggs?
Stop disrespecting me. Don't disrespect.
She said, stop disrespecting me. Fair.
Cardi, how you feeling?
Cardi, your court look is amazing.
Stop disrespecting me. That's what she said. But that was right-handed anger. That was not... She threw it at the ground in that direction. For those of you in the chat asking about Offset, Offset is her ex-husband. Were they married? Offset's her ex. And dude's yelling at her that her ex is saying, and she is not pregnant with her ex's baby. Are there going to be paternity issues? Stop disrespecting me. And dude never got his picture signed. He had the moment.
Is publicly bragging about getting you pregnant for the 4th time. Do you foresee any paternity issues with Stefan Diggs?
Stop disrespecting me. Don't
Stop disrespecting
Cardi,
me.
how you feeling?
Dude, rude.
Court look is amazing.
Yeah. Threw it on the ground. There was not a kerfuffle. I'm going to turn the volume down, but there was not a kerfuffle. Did you see a kerfuffle? I feel bad for the fan that didn't get an autograph, but Ron said that somebody was injured in all of this. We didn't see that.
Stefan Diggs.
Stop disrespecting me.
The people with their cameras up on the side of the screen didn't even move.
See any paternity issues with Stefan?
You can see people holding their phones. None of them even took a shift. None of them even moved a foot.
Diggs.
Stop disrespecting me.
She threw it at the ground in that
Cardi, how you
direction.
feeling?
Cardi, your court look is amazing.
I still love you even though you just threw some stuff at me.
I don't care. You just
He said, I still love you even though you just threw some stuff at me. And she said, I don't care.
disrespectful. Don't do that. Do you see women asking those type of questions to me? Do you see women asking those questions to me?
Okay, I'm going to back up. Go off, girl. I didn't know she was going to tell him exactly. He said, even though you threw some stuff at me, I still love you. Where did my closed captioning go? And she said, stop disrespecting me. Good for you. It is disrespectful.
Cardi, how you feeling?
Cardi, your court look is amazing.
I still love you even though you just threw some stuff at
I
me.
don't care. You're disrespectful. Don't do that. Do you see women asking those type of questions to me?
Notice that none of the sheriffs look like they are paying attention to somebody who has fallen or moved. None of the sheriffs are looking towards the crowd like there's an issue. None of them. The response of everybody walking Cardi B out is to just keep walking her to the car. No one else is looking like someone got ruffled in the crowd.
Court look is amazing.
I still love you even though you just threw some stuff at
I
me.
don't care. You're disrespectful. Don't do that. Do you see women asking those type of questions to me? You see women asking those questions to me.
It's legit.
Why do you feel as a man you get to ask me those type of questions? Act like you have some manners. And your mama taught you.
Act like you have some, good for you. Act like you have some manners. Women aren't asking me these questions. Why do you feel like you get to ask me these questions? It's not okay. Boundaries. 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 Why do you feel like it's okay? Good for you. How many of you have wished you could look at somebody and be like, why do you feel like it's okay to do that? And we don't always. It's kind of cathartic to see her be like, why do you feel like you can disrespect me like that? Why do you think that this is okay? How many times have you wanted to be able to look at somebody and be like, why did you even think that that was all right? Why did you think you could talk to me like that? We don't always say it out loud. I'm glad that she did. Good for you.
You get to ask me those type of questions. Act like you have some manners.
Right.
And your mama taught you. Respect women.
Right.
And you know what? From everything we saw on the trial, I imagine this is exactly how the conversation with the security guard went. Why do you think you're filming me? Why do you have a camera out filming me? I imagine that this is exactly how it went with the security guard who said she was scratched. Why do you think it's okay to film me? I bet that's exactly what it was. And she's right. Why do you think it's okay to ask me that? But I bet that's exactly how that went. That exact same finger point. Why do you think it's okay to do this? Stop filming me.
Do you see women asking those type of questions to me? Do you see women asking those questions to me?
It's legit.
Why do you feel as a man you get to ask me those type of questions? Act like you have some manners.
Right.
And your mama taught you. Respect women.
Right. You look gorgeous.
That's what I'm talking about.
Go ahead, Bronx. Sorry about that. What's up, girl?
No está bien, ¿qué preguntas?
I heard somebody say, tell him what's up, girl. Whoever in the audience is being like, tell him what's up, girl. Good.
BX, stand up.
That's right. It's New York all day.
The crowd's not happy with the dude asking the question. Listen, the other people in the crowd are just like, that's right. That's right. The crowd addresses it. The crowd's like, he shouldn't be asking that. Sweet Baby Ray said, I love that that's some good questions in Spanish. Yep.
That's what I'm talking about.
Go ahead, Bronx. Sorry about that. What's up?
Go ahead,
Está
Bronx.
bien, ¿qué preguntas?
BX, stand up.
That's right. It's New York all day.
I still love you, Cardi. No, you don't. You from
And then he says, I still love you, Cardi. And somebody else in the chat goes, no, you don't. The chat, they're talking about the Bronx. Where Cardi B's from the Bronx. They're talking about the Bronx. And they're like, you get it, girl. He's like, I still love you. No, you don't. I'm interested if this is where the pushing takes place. Notice that Cardi B is in the car. She's already in the car. So if Ron is going to try to assert that something happened because Cardi B said, why are you asking me these questions? It has to do with the media talking to each other over dudes' questions. Because now the media is talking to each other. And I see a lot of cell phones being held, cell phones on poles. When I was outside court for one of the Britney Spears hearings, the amount of like trying to get to the front of a pit at a concert shuffling that was going on, I was like, stop bumping into me. But there is a jostling in those media scrums. It's not my favorite. All right, let's take a look at what the media says to each other real quick.
I still love you, Cardi.
No, you don't. You front.
Push me, man. No, it's back. Yeah, I'm trying to pull you.
Clown king.
Coming through.
Y'all not gonna see.
And then the sheriff is like, hey, stop pushing. Let's come through. The sheriff is standing right there behind the car.
That's right. It's New York all day.
I still love you, Cardi.
The sheriff's like, back up.
Push me, man. No, it's back.
That is the sheriff's deputy right here in tan, like you would see on the TV show Chips, tan. The sheriff's deputy saying don't push because it looks like media is starting to get closer to Cardi's car. The sheriff is saying don't push, man.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull you.
Clown king.
Coming through.
Y'all not gonna see me after that.
And then the sheriff's like, we're coming through.
And you could thank him. I'm not playing around. I was very nice. I was very kind. But you're not gonna. He will pay. Nobody's gonna get that.
And then Cardi is sitting here saying, look, I'm not going to talk to any of the media because of him. Go thank him. I'm not talking to any of y'all because of him.
Thank you, Cardi.
Okay. I'm glad we went back and watched the woman telling a reporter that it was inappropriate to ask her questions about the paternity of her child when she hasn't announced that she's pregnant. Oh, and then she threw a pen at the ground in frustration. I'm not surprised that the way that was represented by counsel was not as the video seems to be. Shocked. So, at this point, we're going to get to some more questions. Then I'm going to go check on my kiddo. So let's get to questions, shall we? All right. Q&A. We have questions. You have questions. I have questions. Goldie said, did EDP look at the pen throwing? Yes. We'll timestamp it down below. We did look at the pen throwing now. So that has been taken care of. CS Tears said, member for 25 months. I wish it would show subscription length also. I know it's hard to always tell how long you've been subscribed to a channel, but then again, sometimes YouTube subscribes and unsubscribes and does all the thing. Cassandra and Mama Wolf and everyone else who gifted memberships, thank you to everyone who got a gifted membership. We are doing a members only tomorrow. I do have some sneak peeks maybe to show you on members only tomorrow. We have some things we need to talk about, but also for those of you that have been asking about when we are refreshing merchandise, restocking merchandise, launching new merchandise, remember the members are always going to see that first. But if you are in the Lawnerd app, just for those of you that are in the app, the Lawnerd app will get notified before we talk about it on streams. So if you are interested in that, Lawnerd app at lawnardapp.com so that you know. But members and the Lawnerd Lounge always get early access. So for those of you in the Lawnerd Lounge, and we have lawnerdlounge.com linked, for those of you in the Lawnerd Lounge always gets first access. That is our member space within the app. YouTube members also get early access, and then the app gets a notification before we talk about it on stream. So there are times when we go live with things and you guys are like, how did that already sell out? Because before we get to stream, it is known by the members and others. So let us continue with questions. I think going through the Cardi B case ended up being more illuminating than I anticipated. I knew that Cardi B had some moments on the stand that were going to be humorous. I had seen some of them clipped and I was like, oh, she's just not really holding back. She was mindful of being in court, but she answered the questions she was asked. And I was interested to see that. But so much more happened in that case. She got called as a hostile witness. We had Dr. Fvkery, the fingernail OBGYN who knew the things. We saw the plaintiff testify. We saw counsel fighting with each other nonstop, over 18 objections in closing. It was a very interesting case. So I'm glad we covered it. So even though we covered it late, thank you, law nerds, for suggesting it. When we are covering other trials, or if we can't cover a trial all at once, sometimes we might cover them a bit on delay. I think we all still learned something from going through it. And their trials are never really done when the verdict is in. And we do keep covering things beyond verdict day in most cases because they're just not done. May, it's all been consistent. May said, did your LA buds tell you anything you can share? It's just consistent. Ed Komet said he may not be a seasoned attorney, but he's cooked. He's cooked and he's bland. No seasoning, but 100% cooked, no cap. Oh man, May, thank you for the gifted memberships. Valerie said, is this new behavior or is it in the past few years? For this attorney, I don't know. I imagine that this is consistent because we have seen a consistent pattern of behavior across these cases. So the fact that he was sanctioned in other cases, the court knows that this is not a one-off, but also the court knows it's not a one-off because of how persistent it was in this case. And every time the court pointed something out to attorney Ron, he didn't say, Your Honor, I'm sorry, and then move on and not do it again. He just kept doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it. And he just kept violating the court's orders, violating the orders in closing. When a witness has been excluded, talking about that witness in closing is not an accident. That was a choice, a poor choice, but it was a choice. He also represented that Cardi B said things on the stand she never said. It wasn't argument. It was blatant misrepresentation. Jelly221 said, my friend from Hermosa is sending me your Easy Reader issue and I can't wait. I didn't realize it would end up on the cover of the Easy Reader, which for those of you that are all over the world, it is a local newspaper. We shared the link to that. They did a story on me and the law nerds. I did not think my face would be on the front page of the local newspaper, but there we were. It was the LA Times during the Depp Heard case. Had a conversation with me about the world of streaming trials, because for us, it's totally normal. But for many, it's like, wait, people watch things on YouTube that's streaming, that's not people gaming and screaming at the top of their lungs? Yes. But alas, it surprises some. So when I talked to the LA Times, they told me that it was going to be a story. We had pictures that were going to be included in that story. I didn't know when it was going to come out or where they were going to put it. And it was on the front page of one of the sections in the LA Times. And I got quite a few emails being like, I was going through the paper this morning and you were smiling at me. I was like, oh, I look very tired. That was towards the end of the Depp Heard case. It was exhausting. Brooklyn Price in the chat said, good morning all. I got married on Saturday. This will be the perfect listen while I pack for our honeymoon in Joshua Tree. He also proposed there. Enjoy Joshua Tree. It's beautiful. What a great time of year, and have the best time on your honeymoon. And thank you for sharing with us. Priya, it was also good to see you in the chat today. I know many law nerds said hello and are thinking of you. The law nerds have been thinking of you. I've been thinking of you. I hope you are doing well. It was really good to see you in the chat today. Jessica said, can the judge Google the lawyer since this is semi outside the scope? I mean, it's come up now. It's in the footnotes and the stories were provided. So the judge doesn't even have to Google. It's just right there. No Googling necessary. Wicked Word said, can we pretty please cover the return of Spidey D? We will talk about Spidey D. Maybe we can talk a little bit more about Spidey D and members only tomorrow. I remember when we talked about Spidey D last year, my mom texted me and was like, what are you talking about? I'm like, how do I explain that we're talking about a donut spider? I'm like, it's just, it's a donut spider. So don't worry, we will do another food court episode and we will talk about Spidey D in food court, but we will maybe take a look a little bit tomorrow as well. Alan said in the year 2525, if this man is still alive, right, 3025. Katie said, Sac County Cali magistrate judge said, if your attorney told you it's okay to break a restraining order and commit grand theft, then you won't get disciplined. The state bar did not do anything about it either. Wow. If your attorney told you it's okay, didn't they have parents that were like, well, if all your friends are doing it, would you do it? Like, it's not okay just because other people have done it, will do it, or going to do it. Or a lawyer said, yeah, go ahead and steal it. No. That's wild. Ugh. Absolutely wild. K-Skills said, think YouTube had a glitchy moment. It happens. There's probably an update of some kind happening. Tyrone, good to see you testing. We broke earlier, but working now. Ron strikes me as the kind of guy who would try to sue you for defamation. I mean, sure. For reading legal documents. I mean, he wouldn't be the first that's tried. He has other things that he needs to focus on, including his upcoming trial in December. Bex says, you done messed up, Ron. I mean, I'm sure Ron has but Your Honor, there's another side to the story. If he puts it in a filing, we will read it. If there's an explanation, put it in a filing, we will read it too. We don't pick and choose the filings on one side or the other. We read them all. Put it in a filing. And we'll read it. Sure. But yeah, that's not going to work. Nikki Brown said, I found it. Thank you so much. You're welcome, Nikki, and all of the law nerds. Amy Sue said, just got my juror questionnaire, crossing fingers. Good luck for jury duty. Is there a way for us to download the documents from today and yesterday? I want to share with friends. Mama Deadhead, I'm going to put, you can always get them from the state of California, from the county of Los Angeles, but they are expensive. The county of LA website is difficult, and the county of LA charges quite a bit for documents, but I'm going to put links to them because we didn't read all of them yesterday. I owe links in the description yesterday and today, and then I will put them in an app message to you guys so you have those links. So I will share links to them. I'll make sure we have links. I'll probably put them up in Scribed or something so they're accessible. Serenade said the magic pickle, the 8-ball, and Siri told me we were cool. I don't understand. We should ask the Mystic Pickle. Hold on. We need to ask the Mystic Pickle. We also have the yodeling pickle, but we have a Mystic Pickle because we needed a magic 8-ball, but then there was a Mystic Pickle, so now we have a Mystic Pickle. So we should ask the Mystic Pickle if the judge will grant the OSC. I think the judge will grant the order to show cause. So, Mystic Pickle, will the judge grant the order to show cause?
The mystical pickle swirls indicate a fermented yes.
Okay. A fermented yes. So, the mystical pickle says that the judge is going to grant the order to show cause. Not to be confused with the yodeling pickle. Emily, why do you have so many pickles on your desk? Well, because we needed a Mystic Pickle, obviously, but we also have a yodeling pickle. And I need to replace the, my goat. I need to replace the batteries in my goat because the physical goat is out of batteries. This goat is here. So for those of you that are asking about the Mystic Pickle, I linked it on Amazon That link is in the description. But if you don't want to go through Amazon, Mystic Pickle. I think it's hilarious. So the Mystic Pickle has spoken. We needed the Mystic Pickle. Lori and CT said you need a tiny violin. Lori, one of the law nerds, sent me one. And it's a keychain. So I won't lose it, though I've lost it. When I was cleaning the office, I take everything off the desk to clean it, and then things get lost. But yes, we have a tiny violin. We do. We have the tiny violin. Pretty Mama Bear said, oh, EDB, I bought a flannel and I love it. Thanks for the link. You're welcome. I do put things on the Amazon shop when I find them that I think you guys might like. So they're up there. So there are links there. Chronic Shock said, I have a screaming goat always just there on my Amazon as a picked for you. I feel stalked. Yes, we love it. Trumpet Mom said, I need a Mystic Pickle for my band classes. Yes, you do. Because sometimes you just let the Mystic Pickle pick and you're just like, let's see what the Mystic Pickle says. Miss Scarlett said, one straight pickle, one curve for variety. I mean, you do need to be able to tell the pickles apart. So yes, we also have a more textured pickle versus a less textured pickle. There are pickle differences. So, Lovely said, Ipsy Dixit, the Mystic Pickle has spoken. So I will keep you posted on the judge's ruling when I see it. I will probably order the transcript. So I just need to know. I need to know. So, I think we need to just pickle cleanse on out of here. Law nerds, we will be doing a members only tomorrow. It depends on how my day goes as to what time we will be doing it tomorrow. So I'm going to check in with T. We will see, but I am optimistic for the afternoon, probably a little later than normal stream time, but around normal stream time. So if you want to stream with me tomorrow, we will be doing a members only. I have not gifted memberships this month. Hold on. Let me gift a few memberships before we leave. And then we will, it's not popping up that I can. Hold on. Do I have to refresh my chat? I might have to refresh my chat because it is not letting me gift memberships. Hold on. Let me refresh chat. And for those of you that are here at the end of Q&A, we're going to gift some memberships. Let me grab chat again and see if it'll let me do it. That was me. I was opening a different window. There we go. There's our membership gifting. Woo woo. I just needed to refresh just like y'all needed to refresh. All right, let's gift a few memberships and then we're going to do a pickle cleanse and then we're going to bounce on out of here. So I will see you tomorrow. Members, we will also be recording a podcast. It just depends on how the weekend goes. Travis is supposed to have a comp. I don't know if he's going to be able to go to his comp. It's just going to depend. Oh no. Now it disappeared in the window. Oh. When I had the chat pulled up, YouTube is not refreshing properly, so it doesn't, I can see why people were missing their super chats. It didn't pull all the way up, and that's why I can't give memberships. YouTube chat is glitching like nobody's business. Let me try one more time. That's not fun. Let me take a picture of this so I can send it to YouTube and be like, yo, what is up with chat being broken? YouTube, I'm trying to give you money. I would like to give some memberships. Let's try this one more time. We might end up hearing me for a second. Sorry for the echo. Because I needed to open the video a different way. Okay, there we go. That was complicated. That was so complicated. For all of you who are like such a novice, 100%. It is 100%. I mean, we're professionals here. What can we do? That was ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. All right. It worked now. So Congratulations to all our new members. For those of you who have asked, the mods regularly share how to become a member. It is apportioned randomly by YouTube. I suspect, and this is not based on anything I've been told, this is just based on my guess. I suspect that the more you're engaged in the chat, that probably weighs how you are going to get memberships. Like if you're subscribed and chatting, more likely to be gifted a membership than if you aren't subscribed and don't regularly chat. That's kind of where I'm at with how I think it works. But do I actually know how it works? No. Nobody tells me these things. I don't know. So for all of you, thank you. For those of you that do not have the Law & Order app, remember to stay in the loop. The first things you need to know, all of those are in app notifications. It is free on iOS and Android unless you join the Law & Order Lounge. That is our paid membership within the Law & Order app. Lots coming to the lounge and the first place to hear about new merch drops, to chat with other Law & Orders. It's chat when the chat's not here. It's our fun little members lounge where we can converse even when the chat is not rolling live. So with that, it is time for a pickle cleanse. For those of you new, it's been a minute since we've pickle cleansed. When did we start the pickle cleanse, chat? I don't remember. The pickle was a gift from a Law Nerd in the P.O. box. And I don't remember which trial it was that we needed and heavily relied on the pickle cleanse. I think we had the pickle during Murdaugh. It might have been Murdaugh that we started the pickle. It might have been Murdaugh. We'll have to find it. But pickle cleanse. We just... All right, we are pickle cleansed. Law Nerds, I will see you soon. Members, I will see you tomorrow and then for a podcast at some point. Everyone else, I will see you next week. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other. I hope it is becoming fall weather where you are, and I will see you soon. You guys are the best. Thank you, Team Baker. I will see all of you soon. And if I see an update on Friday about whatever happens in Department T, I'm going to 100% send you an app notification. So hopefully we'll have a minute order at the end of the day on Friday, and I'll be able to send that to you and see if an OSC date has been set. Law Nerds, I'll see you soon. Bye. Thank you for joining me. Make sure you don't miss a live stream or any of the updates on the cases that you care about most with the Law Nerd app at lawnerdapp.com. It's a free download on iOS and Android so I can keep you in the loop, because you never know when something's going to pop off. Thanks for being here, and thanks for being a Law Nerd.